Awesome. Well, what first drew you to the world of voice acting, and how did you discover it was a passion?
What first drew me to voice acting? Well, it was another way to make money. I was an actor in LA, and I had a commercial agent and was getting some work commercially. This is way back before the internet. And my agent had just separated with a partner of his who went off to start his own voice agency, a guy named Steve Tisherman. And so I went over to Steve, who knew me through my commercial rep, and said, I'd like to get into voice work too, and voiceovers, which at that time was mostly commercials and things like that, and some animation. So he said, well, make a tape and I'll listen to it. And if you have some chops, I'll take you on. So I made a tape, and I made, that was in the days of going to get into a studio and getting a reel-to-reel tape, and then taking that to a company to make 200 cassettes that you could distribute around. And that's how I got started with my voice tape and my voice agent. So that was way back in the early 80s.
Awesome. Well, how did your journey with Team Fortress 2 begin, and what were your initial impressions of the characters you voiced?
Well, TF2 came just through a call from an email from my agent, and they said, you're why here's they emailed me pictures of the characters of all of the mercs, and they said, pick ones you think you could do, and record a small sample and email it back, and we'll submit it. So I looked at heavy weapons guy, and I think that the description said uh, Eastern European nondescript accent, and a heavy weapons guy was black, one-eyed Scottish bomber. So I said, I've got a Scottish accent, and I've got some good Russian, Baltic, Romanian sounding accent. So I put my two voices down and emailed it back. And then I got called back, and eventually they chose me as both of them.
Awesome. Are there aspects of your voice acting career that have surprised you in terms of the impact on fans and culture?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been astonishing. We, when I first did TF2, it was just another job. I was not into the gaming community at all. I did not realize, other than that video games were popular. Um, it wasn't like TV or movies that didn't have a residual structure. You simply go in and you record and you get paid, and then that's the end of it. And so I did a lot of video game voices for various games. And you just take the money and you go on your happy way. Well, it was about, and I had done, so here's where it first started. I had done four voices on Dota 2, and I got a call. This is, a few years after the voices were in the can. And they said, we want to hire you for a autograph signing at Benaroya Hall, which is the big concert venue here in Seattle. And you'll sign autographs for the fans. And I said, oh my goodness, you'll have to refresh me on the voices, because that was so many years ago. So I said, okay, yeah. So I listened back to the voices and I said, oh yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, Shadow Shaman. Yeah, Pugna. Okay, yeah. So I got the voices back and they gave me stacks of pictures, autographs to sign, and then they brought me to this venue. I had no idea how huge the fan base was. It blew my mind because there were people in cosplay all over the place. Um, it was a competition,
Hmm.
it looked like a gigantic Quidditch match with each country displaying a banner with their teams in this concert hall, and there was a gigantic diamond vision screen with Dota going on and these teams battling it out for the top spot. And it was something like a $6 million purse.
Wow.
And I'm like, and it's gone up from there. I think the last prize was like $20 million for the winner. Anyway, I was blown away. It was all like a new world to me. And people would, come and ask me for selfies with the voice of Shadow Shaman and ask me to say this or that, and again, I had never played Dota too, so it was phenomenal. And they walked me down into a cellar where there were international uh, news teams who were reporting on the gaming and on this event. And there was a BBC crew there, and a nice man in a, suit and tie and everything, balding, very sweet man. He says, "Oh, hello." He says, "Yes, this is quite an event. We're here for the BBC or whatever it was and everything." Um, and he goes, "And what do you have to do with all of this?" And I said, "Oh, well, I play Lich." And he goes, "You're Lich? Oh my God, I did a documentary on you." And I'm just blown away.
Are you surprised by the fact that you have so many fans from Dota 2 or Team Fortress 2, but is Team Fortress 2 closer to your heart, or is Dota 2 much closer to you, or how do
TF2,
you think of this?
yeah, TF2 definitely the more popular game because there's so many voices in Dota. I'm one of 20 or 30 voices. I've 40. I don't know how many are in Dota 2, but a lot. I did four of them. And it's a different kind of a game, although I guess it's super popular. But I had no idea. So until I don't know how many years ago it is already, maybe 10 years ago, that I discovered that uh, these characters were beloved characters all around the world. I literally had no idea. Valve never told me how popular the game was. I was not involved in the gaming industry, so I just had no clue. But I was at an improv conference in Australia, and I'm sitting down, having a beer, getting to know all of the improvisers from all around the world at this pub. And for some reason, I just for some reason for fun did, "Hey, hey, I'll have beer. Mm, no vodka today, beer only. I am in Australia." And she goes, "Oh my God, you sound just like one of my favorite. You sound just like Heavy Weapons guy." And I looked at her and I said, "My dear, I am Heavy Weapons guy." And she threw her arms around me, buried her head on my chest, and she said, "Oh my God, I've spent 900 hours with you." And I met some voice actors in Australia too, who are working actors. Went to uh, they were also improvisers in an improv company there. And when our host found out that I was demo man and heavy, she said, "Oh my God, I'm fanboying out here. This is crazy. So that's when I got a taste of how impactful this was. That was maybe 2012, 2013. Really great. A guy named Shork. I don't know if you know Shork. He was
Yeah, I know Schwartz.
he was here recently, and and he took a lot of footage here at my house because he's working on a documentary on me. So he's doing a documentary on me.
Yeah, no. I just recently watched the Meet the Heavy in real life. I thought that was really well put together. I think you guys did a great job doing it.
Yeah, that was yeah. Eric Short came over and shot that, and that was a lot of fun.
Did you guys do a Meet the Demo Man yet for real life?
No, no. He's he has to kind of he comes from Denmark, so he has to fly over with his group and everything like that. He's a young guy, and so he's done Meet the Heavy and Meet the Sniper so far, and I know he has plans. We talked about a Meet the Medic where I'll be involved.
Ooh,
Mhm.
yeah. They're gonna cut open your stomach?
Really funny because I have a friend, Caleb, my former comedy team partner, who is the inventor of Furby,
Oh, wow.
and he's really very good with mechanics and craft and special effects. So I was hoping to kind of corral him into helping us create the special effect of my rib cage and beating heart and all of that.
Yeah. Well, next question here. Um, what is a piece of advice you wish you had received early in your career as a voice actor?
As a voice actor, uh, to have started earlier. I've always loved playing around with my voice and mimicking and imitating people. I would do impressions and various things like that. And when I was a kid, I used to memorize comedy records, like the vinyl kind, and I would memorize monologues from all of my favorite comedians, from Woody Allen to Bill Cosby to Bob Newhart to all of these, you know, uh, famous comedians of my age and generation, and would perform them in my art class in the eighth grade and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. And when I started out as a mime, believe it or not, my first professional career. And when I met my partner Caleb, we were both mimes, but we wanted to distinguish ourselves. So we developed a way for me to do Caleb's sound effects. He would be a robot, and I would improvise stuff for his voice to say. He was a fantastic robotic mime, and we would just fart around that way. And I would also do a lot of sound effects, you know, sawing wood, you know, opening car doors, all of that stuff. So as he would mime it, I would make the sound effects for whatever he would come up with.
Where'd you guys do that at?
Well, down in LA, we were a comedy team called Schwartz and Chung. You can look us up on the internet. And we ended up doing a lot of funny gags on a show called America's Funniest People, called Cool Ways to Scare Your Mom. And we did a children's show called You and Me Kid for the Disney Channel. The first year the Disney Channel became a cable network. That was 1981. And so we've had a lot of time together as a team. And I was so tired by the time I had met Caleb of being a mime, because I had been a mime since I was 13. that I tried to convince him to let's get rid of the white makeup and talk. We could still be physical comedians, and that's what we ended up being.
Awesome. Do you have any like specific things that you do to get into character before recording?
No, just looking at this, giving your first impression and waiting for the director to give you direction.
How does your improv experience influence your approach to voice acting?
Oh, 100%. Improvisation is the way I approach improvisation is through the body. You have to be so even when I'm improvising or when I'm voice acting, I have to feel like if I'm running, I have to get into that run. I have to physically move. I cannot just stand there and be a disembodied head and produce a voice.
But there's a lot of voice actors who actually do act in that way. Some of them cannot improvise. And I know you're a good improv.
Mhm.
You're good at improv, and you are an improv teacher. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I've been teaching improv for 40 years.
Yeah.
And
So if I was to ask you to improv a scene as heavy, you could say anything, and you could feel the moment. You'd be there, right?
yeah, what's really funny, and one of the tricks that I used when I was recording, and I use this in all of my recording sessions, is when you're recording and you're doing whatever the lines are,
Hmm.
I would always slip in a few of my own little extra things at the end of a take, for example, just to see if I could crack the people up inside the glass booth there who are recording. If I could crack up the engineers or the director who's sitting in the booth directing you. You're out in the studio in front of a microphone. So if I could get them to laugh and chuckle, I knew that, they'd say, "Hey, he's fun to work with. Let's call him back for some other project." So that was my little trick.
Awesome. Do you think improv has benefits beyond acting, like in daily life or other professions?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, improvisation is um, is really just about being present in the moment and being um, knowing that you can cope with anything that's going to come at you. You know, so it takes you out of predicting the future or worrying about what you just did. It's not just it's really just it's actors. The improv that I do is not comedy improv. It's improvisation for the theater. Was developed by my teacher, Viola Spolin, who invented the art form in America. So, and she used it to teach children the principles of being on stage through the use of theater games. So when you play a game, you're having a lot of fun. And when you're having fun, you're present, you're fully engaged, mind and body in the moment, in the act of play. And so that's why, when you hear Shakespeare would say, the play is the thing. Uh, and players, not actors, are strut and fret their time upon the stage. And so we are players, and the key word is playful. Play, have fun.
Mhm.
I did not know that. Wow. Awesome. How did you encourage creativity and spontaneity? Yeah, I can't say that word. I tried.
Spontaneity.
That word, yep. In students who might be afraid of failing in an improv setting.
Well, see, failing is about worrying about the future or feeling bad that you didn't make it. And then so you're reliving the past moment and that takes you out of the present moment. So, I always use the metaphor of playing tag. You ever play tag?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, not at somebody's it, right? So everybody's all excited and they say, and then they run and they start to tag somebody. So, and then, when somebody's it and they get tagged, they don't go, oh, damn it, I'm it. God damn it. Why is it always me? Yeah, I'm slow. Shit, what can I do? No, you're tagged, you have a new role to play. Now you're it, you tag somebody else. And everybody's laughing and having fun running around. And there's no winner or loser in tag. It's a full present time moment, and you're using your full faculties. You're scoping out, who should I go after? People are, who's in their way, and you're spontaneously doing all of this in milliseconds in the present moment. So there's a lot going on, and yet at the same time, you're all laughing and having fun, and the energy is high. That's present time play. And
Absolutely.
when you start to think, I gotta win, God damn it, I gotta win. And if I don't win, I failed. You cannot be having fun. And if you try something and it doesn't work, you can't say that's a failure. My teacher, Viola Spolin, said I don't believe in success and failure. That's a paradigm that unfortunately is culturally bound us up and made us robotic, made us afraid to try things. And creativity is stifled by that fear of failure. You cannot think about it while you're creating.
Well, let's switch to some Team Fortress 2 based questions here. How did it feel to bring such unique personalities to life as both the Heavy and Devilman?
How say that again? What?
How did it feel to bring such unique personalities to life as both the Heavy and the Devilman?
It was a lot of fun. I had a blast recording it. I'm glad they liked what I did, and uh, it's just a lucky happenstance that the game is so popular for so long. I've just got lucky.
Awesome. What was the process like for creating these voices? Did you draw inspiration from certain people, accents, or experiences?
Well, not really, but sort of, you listen to when I grew up as a kid, I listened to my favorite cartoon voices. And I like the sense of humor of like the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. And so there was a character on Rocky and Bullwinkle called Boris Badenov, who was this Russian, Potsylvanian spy. And those voice actors just had a blast with each other. And they literally did that cartoon to make themselves laugh as adult people. But it was a children's show. So, but it was also, and I grew up listening to those voices and said, I want to do that someday. So, if you listen to Boris Badenov, there's a little bit of heavy in Boris, I think.
It's funny because, when you mention the voices, then, the Jungle Book game, I believe it's
Yeah, Jungle
called,
Book.
right? You
Yeah.
did a Scottish character there, and a lot of people joke about it to this day that that character was the origin of Demo Man.
Well, that was my first sort of Scottish accent that I got work with. And it was a live action video game back in the 90s when video games were just trying to break out of being text-based games. And it was a puzzle solving game. You would have to break through the levels. And the audition for that was Colonel Il Guam, which is Mowgli spelled backwards, for the Jungle Book. The character read, and I had to do this live. Like this was like not a voice audition. This was an actual on-camera audition. And the character read Colonel Il Guam. He has the the kindness of Gandhi, the courage of Sean Connery, and the humor of John Candy. So, that was the so when I walked in and they said, "Well, what do you think of the character?" And I said, "Well, I've got all these qualities. I've got the courage of John Candy, the kindness of Sean Connery, and the bravery of Gandhi. What do you think?" And that made them laugh, and so they said, "Okay." So they said, he's an explorer. So what do you got? So I just came up with, this character, and I tried it out, and they liked it.
Absolutely. You remember any lines of the character?
From Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that's yeah, when they when the player first falls into the jungle, and
Hmm.
I'm upside down. They've turned the camera upside down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm carrying a chimpanzee, and it says, "You're the person who's supposed to save the jungle. Forgive me for saying so, but you can't even save yourself."
That's perfect.
So yeah, and I got to work with a live chimp and tiger cubs, and that was really an interesting experience.
I bet.
Well, writing off that question, what do you think your favorite lines for both the Heavy and Devilman are?
Oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell.
Mine
That one.
too.
And then Heavy has so many. They're so fun. Cry some more. Cry, little baby man.
The ones with the cry word in it.
Cry, yeah, cry some more.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny because the TF2 Halloween event was just a couple of weeks ago. And for Halloween, the Heavy has like a bird head. You know, you can like
Oh
apply
yeah,
the
I
cosmetic.
remember that.
And he has lines such as, "I'm going to lay eggs in your mouth," and those lines just crack me up all the time. Continue from
So
there.
we got together at a PAX West conference in Seattle. I think it was 2000. I don't know what, during COVID probably, or right after.
Hmm.
So 2000, 20, 21, 22, something like that. Anyway, uh, we went into a little coffee shop that said sandwich shop, and we were searching for a sandwich.
Yeah,
And
that's where the first sandwich video happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just improvised. We all just walked in. John Lowry and Ellen and Dennis and Robin and I, and Robin put it on YouTube, or on posted it on Twitter, and it just went viral. So we got the idea to sort of make these search for the sandwich videos, and using our voice but our real faces, which was a really cool thing, because all of that led to the fact that I get now recognized on the street
Hmm.
sometimes, which is, because normally I've never been recognized for being a voice. You don't know what the voice person looks like. So those videos sort of exposed our real faces to the fans, which was a real trip, real ego trip, and fun, a lot of fun. It's a pleasure to talk to fans.
How many of those videos have you made by now?
Oh my God, 8 or 9.
Oh, wow.
I think there was more of it, but can we
Yeah, there
expect
was,
anything?
but it stopped a while back. We have one in the can almost. John Lowry's hasn't finished it off. He was sort of our director, uh, impresario, and we held a contest for a search for the sandwich script, and
Mhm.
we got one and we filmed it, but it's never been out yet. Maybe it will
So you
be.
can so you can safely say there's more to come.
Well, we have ideas for more. Yeah, we do. But it sort of did the trick for now. So, but it all kept us having fun with each other, and we've been at some Comic Cons together as a cast, which has been a blast.
How did the sandwich blues come along?
I go walking with a friend of mine who has a small jazz club here in my little town of North Bend, Washington, which is a very small town. It's the location for where they filmed Twin Peaks, the TV series Twin Peaks. And Danny is a jazz musician, and I was kind of talking about how, I'm not musical. All of the other cast members are musical, like really. And I said, I'm completely not musical. And he says, well, you could do like a blues. Everybody can do the blues. So I said, well, da 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 da. Yeah, I could probably do some kind of blues or a talking blues. Anyway, I pitched that to John, and we said, let's do the Sandwich Blues, and recorded at Boxley's, the jazz club, which we did. And it's got like 3 million views or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't mean to ask you that because, all of you were singing there, and I knew Ellen and John had a musical background. I was not sure about Dennis or you,
Yeah,
but
Dennis can sing and has been in musicals. And Robin is a musician.
oh.
So yeah, me not. But I've tried my hand at it. There's a video of me doing, somebody once requested I do Bohemian Rhapsody. And so
Yeah.
I listened to the song and sang along to it in my voice to record for this fan, the first line of Bohemian Rhapsody. And they've animated that.
Yeah, they did. You did that as the heavy, right?
Yeah. Mama just killed a man. Yeah.
Maybe it's just about time to do it as Demo Man, don't you think?
Do a little duet between the two.
Yeah. Oh, and then I've recorded a couple of other things. What did I record?
I know you recorded something with the Robin, maybe, no? I think he was on the piano.
Robin was when we were down at Boxley's, he was playing piano and he just sang to me as medic.
Oh.
But what did I do? I did My Funny Valentine for Valentine's Day because we were promoting, Robin and I were promoting the idea that there was a relationship happening, a bromance going on. So that got a lot of interest with the fans, and so we kind of milked that a little bit. And so now we sign autographs called From the Heart, and we did a couple of live streams as Heavy and Medic giving romantic advice.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think it was Shork hosting that, and you were asked if you would choose Medic over Sasha, or
Oh,
so.
that was the first one. That's what sparked the whole thing. But then Robin and I have actually done some others on our
Oh
own.
yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Both Heavy and the Demo Man have become iconic characters in the gaming world. What do you think it is about them that resonates so deeply with fans?
Well, I'm hoping that I gave them kind of a sense of humor. They're fun to play, and uh, I just think that because I was having fun with it, I think it has something to do with that they're good, fun characters to play.
They're absolutely unique, definitely. I mean, their looks, and then their voices and everything. And a lot of people for years didn't know that Heavy and Demo Man were voiced by the same person.
Do you have any memorable moments in the recording booth when recording those characters?
Oh my God. Well, I used to do a character on television from a TV show that I starred in the 90s called Zoobly Zoo, where I played a large fox who owned a theater in this little village called Zoobly Zoo. And I would use the voice of Ed Wynn. And you probably don't remember Ed Wynn unless you saw Mary Poppins.
Yep, that's a great show.
Well, Uncle Arthur, the one who loves to laugh. So every once in a while, I would just do the heavy lines or demo man's lines as Bravo Fox, because you have to crack up when you hear, oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell, don't you know?
You know, another voice related moment, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jacob, but I know for a while you've been saying that you've voiced the tank in Left 4 Dead 2, right? And because you have recorded for the
Yeah,
character,
I
but
recorded for TF2, and I'm the helicopter pilot. I think they might have replaced my tracks. I'm not listed as the tank anymore, so I don't know. They might have gone with somebody else. But I shredded the hell out of my voice for that one.
I
That one
believe
was
you.
a tough one to do.
It did you very,
I can imagine it sounding like the heavy kind of.
yeah.
Well, it was just mostly screaming, and I couldn't work for a week after. I had to let my throat heal.
Wow.
Did you have any idea at the time of recording that the game would become such a cultural phenomenon?
Not at all. No, no. Just just one of those lucky things.
How does it feel to have the voices you created live on through memes, fan art, and other forms of content?
I'm having a ball with it. I mean, I get to sign autographs now. I'm on Cameo and on a site called streamily.com where you can get little autographs. You've got them. There you go. Yeah.
Well, let's
See?
see.
And you know, and I've got little plushies
Oh,
that I
Oh,
can
wow.
sign. And yeah, there's so fans order not only autograph pictures, but video shout outs for birthdays and and it's fun to do, and I get to do it from the comfort of right here.
Exactly. That's absolutely right. By the way, I mean, I know when you did Team Fortress 2, that was around the same time when you did Left 4 Dead, I believe. So,
Yeah, I think I did Left 4 Dead first. That's how I think I
mhm.
got introduced to Valve,
Okay.
and
That's
then
good to know.
and
I
then, and
was
then
curious about
Dota,
that.
and Dota, and then Team Fortress, and then I don't know, every year they'd have us come in maybe one or two or three times a year to do extra modules for TF2. They kept adding
Hmm.
to the
You
game.
know, yeah, it's funny, but I believe there was like an update for Team Fortress 2. I'm not sure if it was a year ago or two. It was like the Saxton Hale update, and it added a new game mode, and they had all the mercs voiced by one person, by a fan basically. He was a fan of the game, but he could pull off all the mercs, voices, and
Yeah.
so that's what they did.
they were good.
Yeah, I was at a Comic-Con in Florida one year, and there was a guy named Bruce Carr who was a fantastic balloon artist, and he made a life-size balloon sculpture costume of Heavy Weapons Guy, and he got inside of it, and this balloon Heavy Weapons Guy came at me, and he could do my voice perfectly.
Must have been surreal.
Very wild. It was very wild. I have pictures of it. It was quite an interesting thing.
By the way, what do you think of impersonators who impersonate, the voices that you do, for example?
I'm flattered. That's how I got started. I impersonated all of my favorite cartoon characters, and that's how I sort of got that's how what inspired me to think that I could do this once I was an actual actor in LA. It did not happen. Like, I did not think I was ever going to go to LA and make a career as an actor. Until I was 25, I was a bartender.
Wow.
And yeah,
Right.
and I decided that I wasn't happy trying to end up as in the restaurant field, and uh, I didn't even start out to go to LA to be an actor. I was going to be a mime in a commune in Colorado. But when I got to Colorado, the commune had shut down, and I was left in the middle of the country with no place to go. I had a sister who lived in LA, so I drove to LA to stay on her couch and got bartending work again. But because it was LA, I could do my performing, and rather than do it in the small town where I grew up, I could do it in LA at cafes, and you start meeting people who say, "Hey, that's pretty good. Why don't you meet such and such and so and so?" And it led to a career.
How has the resurgence of popularity in TF2 given you the opportunity to do more with the other voice actors?
Oh, well, I've worked with John Lowry and Dennis they've done for 25 years a radio program called Imagination Theater. And I got hired as to be on that to be in certain episodes of their ongoing shows. They do the Adventures of Harry Nile and Sherlock Holmes, and it's classic radio drama. And so, I've been recording with them for, 20 years, meeting them occasionally. It's not widely popular, or not widely popular. I mean, it's popular in that genre, but I've got to know them through that, and I've directed. I have a small theater here in North Bend, and I've directed Dennis in a play here, so I've got to work with him as a director, and so I've known them for L.A. or Seattle is a smaller acting pool, so you get to know most of the working actors in your area when you're a working actor.
Hmm. Imagination Theater, isn't that Jim French Productions?
Jim French, and when Jim French passed away, John and Larry Albert took the company over and have kept producing it. So, they've just
Mhm.
kept it on. But yeah, Jim French was the first person to cast me.
Oh, so you knew Jim French.
Oh, yeah,
It's funny because he also was in a couple of Valve games.
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, Jim
so
French has
yeah,
an amazing voice.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. TF2 has a very dedicated fan base that's kept up with the game for years. Why do you think it's so beloved?
Why, what?
Why do you think TF2 is so beloved after so many years?
Well, it's interesting. I think the game is not just a straightforward shooter game. It's not Doom or any of these other sort of, I just want to kill you and
Yeah.
conquer. It's somebody said to me recently, they said, it's more like it's more like a chat room with guns. And people like to get together, and because you can meet different people, and whoever you play, you can stop shooting everybody and just break into a dance and
Yeah.
fool around like that. And so I think that's the fun of it. Plus, I think it's also the style. It's not this dead serious, I'm gonna, blow your head off with as much realistic gore as possible. It's a
Yeah.
cartoon.
Absolutely. And what I think about this is that, there's the Meet the Team animations and other animations of TF2 and the comics, of course. And what's, I think, the most important is every year there's some sort of a meme, from Team Fortress 2 that just goes around. For example, one of your lines, the dispenser line, that has been a meme for years. Or, like maybe 2 years ago, I think it was the TF2 gaming meme, that was also a huge thing.
Well, I saw the Heavy is Dead video that went bonkers, and then
Yeah.
everybody was asking me to sign my autograph with Putis, and I didn't know what Putis was. I had to go to the TF2 wiki to find out.
Yeah, it's a huge hit. And by the way, what I think you should do, and I'm gonna, I think this would be a good idea for you to do. You should maybe react to Team Fortress 2 videos. I mean, I knew you guys got together with Short, to react to videos and everything, but I think a really cool idea would be if you guys would react, for example, to the Meet the Team videos. You guys have seen it, so many times, I'm sure, but you guys could share stories, what comes up. So I think that's something you should do.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to get together soon for a holiday signing. Shork is has a charity for disabled gamers, and he raises money every year. And I think all of us are going to appear on that broadcast or on uh, that podcast or whatever it is. And
Hmm.
we're also thinking of getting together for a live signing event or an online signing event together. It's a matter of getting it well advertised so that people know about it. And of course,
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
getting us all together in our various capacities. I know Robin Downs is still actively working down in LA, and uh, you know, uh, John and Ellen are happy working. But we're older now, and I don't want to say that I'm retired because I'm still busy teaching and writing. I've written a new book, so
The sequel to The King of Average, is that
yes, I
correct?
did. I did. I just
Yeah.
finished it, as a matter of fact, this week. Sent it off to an editor, and so it's going to be a lot more work to get the book in shape, but I've got the story for the sequel all done, and I feel very good about it. Plus, I'm republishing King of Average with a new illustrator and
Oh.
a new ending to set up the sequel.
Hmm. Is there also going to be an audiobook for the sequel?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to do the audio for the sequel, of course. No, there's no heavy in it, but there is a guy named Squint who's sort of he's kind of a Cockney dwarf. I So that'll be fun to do.
Yeah. I know you guys have done the comic readings in the past as the voice actors. Um, are you going to be doing that once Comic 7 does come out?
I hope so. I would love to. I'm always available if
So,
it can be
yeah.
organized. Yeah, absolutely. I'm game.
So you enjoyed doing that, right?
Oh yeah. And I hope to go. I think we're in March. We're going to a Comic-Con not too far from where I live, and we're always looking to be asked to go to Comic-Cons as a cast.
Hmm.
We love going out together and hanging with each other.
It shows.
And then if we do and when we do, there might be some more search for the sandwich videos out of that too.
Yeah, we need those.
Moving on to some questions about your philosophy on art and storytelling. What, in your view, is the role of an actor or voice actor in bringing a story to life?
Well, you are the living embodiment of the character. I mean, you try to create with your voice, you know, not just saying the lines, but you want to give an atmosphere. You want to convey what kind of action you're involved in while you're saying things, so that you're helping the player see a full picture. Even, or the artist who's going to animate what you're going to lay down as a track. But it's we're just one part of the storytelling process. It voice acting is not its own thing. It's a part of a storytelling effort that's a communal effort. And you just have to get lucky with bringing all the right people together who so that it all meshes and becomes something bigger than its independent parts. And I think that's the luck of Team Fortress 2. That happened.
Yeah, Valve absolutely knew who to bring, as the voices. And it's funny because really most of you are from the Seattle area, right? I mean, I think only Robin is from the LA area. So I think it's funny that, there's so many talented
And the guy who
people.
plays Hale is not from here either.
Yeah, I think he's also from LA or
Yeah.
so.
But Valve is here, so that's why, you know, we I guess we got cast locally.
Haven't they moved to New Zealand? As far as
I
I'm
heard
aware.
stories that that's where they were doing. That's what they were doing. And if they
Hmm.
need me to go to New Zealand to record, I would be more than happy to.
It is beautiful down there.
Yeah, I've taught improv in Christchurch, New Zealand. It's a lovely, beautiful place.
How do you balance bringing your own interpretation to a role while staying true to the character as it's written?
Well, you want to do what the director needs you to do or what the writer wants you to do, so you just fill it the best you can. I don't try to bring. I mean, it's because they want you because of who you are, I suppose, or what you bring to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be cast. So once they say you're the guy, you just join the team and you work to, I don't try to impose anything when I'm working. I try to fill the bill.
Well, moving on to some career questions. Looking back at your career, are there any specific roles or projects that you feel most proud of?
Oh, well, TF2 for sure. Um, I've done a lot of wonderful stage productions at my little theater. I created a small theater here in the Valley in North Bend called Valley Center Stage, and produced over 200 stage plays and events. Several are very, uh, I'm real proud of those, but those are just theater. I'm very proud of Zoobilee Zoo, the show that I did back in the 1980s, which is a show that has endured, and my characters are a beloved character, the characters on that show, and there's a big fan base for Zoobilee Zoo as well. It's a children's show,
Hmm.
um, and that I'm very proud of. Very happy and lucky to have been in a very iconic movie called Quest for Fire, where it was about 80,000 years ago, the creation of fire, man's search for fire, and it's an adventure movie with Ray Don
Hmm.
Chong and Ron Perlman. And it was Ron's and mine's first movie.
Wow.
All right. How has your experience shaped your perspective on what it means to be successful in the arts?
Well, you can make a living and not have to resort to doing it part-time while you're tending bar. Uh, I got very lucky, I mean, I got very lucky. I fell into a lot of very good situations. I was part of a very large loop group down in LA, which helped me hone my voices and my improv. It was a perfect blend of improv and voice acting, what's called ADR, additional dialogue replacement. And
Hmm.
we would be the actors who would come in when a movie is completed to watch the background extras who are told during the filming to be quiet, but act like you're talking and make this background look alive. But then
Hmm.
they would bring in real actors to watch the background and record the voice tracks for the non-speaking extras. And
Wow.
you would have to improvise what they'd say and make it sound authentic. And I got to work on over 600 films and television, some big ones, I got to work on the Star Trek series, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise. So I got to play a lot of Ferengi, a lot of Klingons, a lot of different aliens.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes I'd be asked to voice certain animals because I had the ability to, I worked for David Lynch on a TV pilot that never went anywhere, but there was a scene where a little dachshund got poisoned in a dog food commercial. And then they said, we need to hear, the dachshund retching and vomiting. And, who can do that? I raised my hand and, you know, or
I
who
believe you've also been to some Disney movies. Is that correct?
Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The movie Oliver and Company, an animation, where Dom DeLuise played Fagin, the actor Dom DeLuise. And yeah, he was very famous for having a lot of wheezes, He would talk and he, he would do that, right? And they would animate that, but he didn't want to come in to do his wheezes. So
Hmm.
I filled in all of Dom DeLuise's wheezes. I spent a whole day going,
Wow.
and yeah. So, yeah, I got to work on loop animations like Fern Gully and Nightmare Before Christmas and things like that.
If you could go back and revoice a character with what you know now, would you change anything about the performance?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I would give it my all every time. I would try to anyway.
I have a question related to this. Do you think if Team Fortress 2 was happening right now, do you think you could give off the same performance that you were able to give back in 2007?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think all of us would be more than happy to.
Do
If
you
it,
think age has an impact on voice acting?
not as long as you can do the voice, you know. A lot of people thought that, heavy weapons guy ruins my voice, but it doesn't. For some reason, it's comfortable to do.
Hmm.
Alright, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in voice acting or improv?
Take classes, work as much as possible, get involved with as many people as possible, network. You never know who is going to be the guy who jumps into the next pool. In other words, I always thought of it as like you're swimming in a big pond, and then you're swimming with all of the other fishes, and then some fishes jump into this next level, smaller pond. And if you know a few of them, maybe they'll help you get into that pond. So, you never know though. So be nice to everybody.
Exactly.
Well,
And I believe this actually wraps up the questions. Or do you have any other questions, Jacob?
I do not, do you?
No. What is the name of your school, Jacob? Maybe Gary, maybe you could do some promotional material for this school since it's for the news. I don't know.
What is it? Hello, Kai. This is heavy weapons guy. Study hard. Graduate. Get good job.
That was great. We're just not right at the beginning. Awesome. Well, yeah, no, that about wraps it up. Do you have any other questions, Gary?
No, no. Just let me know when you put this up or send me a link to it. I'll try to spread it around. And it's
Yeah.
always fun talking to fans. I'm glad you guys are still fans of the game. Hey, my pleasure.